At Christmas dinner, I finally worked up the courage to tell my family about my new job promotion. Before I could finish, my uncle laughed and said, "Don't bother, you'll just screw it up like you do everything else." My mom laughed too. I left my plate untouched and drove away alone. A year later, they showed up to my book signing, begging for VIP seats, and I let security handle it. I'm not proud of how long I let my family treat me like garbage. But I finally hit a breaking point. It was last Christmas. And what happened after changed everything. I was driving up to my parents' place in Frederick, Maryland. It's not far from where I live now, maybe 40 minutes. But that day, it felt like a whole damn lifetime. I was nervous. Not because I didn't want to see them, but because I had something to share. Something big. I had just been promoted to editorial director at the publishing house where I'd been working my ass off for years. I climbed my way up from an unpaid intern, then assistant, then associate editor, and now this. I had power. I had a team. I was finally respected. But even more than that, I'd signed a deal for my first book. A memoir I'd been writing in secret for 3 years. I wasn't sure if I was going to tell them about the book, but I knew I wanted them to know about the promotion. When I pulled up to the house, everything looked the same. That worn-down porch, the crooked light by the garage that flickers when it's windy. I told myself this time might be different. That maybe they'd be proud. Inside, it smelled like overcooked ham and the same store-bought cookies they always serve. My mom was in the kitchen, yelling at my sister about forgetting the sweet potatoes. Dad was already half into a bottle of wine, watching football in the living room. My Uncle Pete, my mom's older brother, was cracking loud jokes about somebody getting fired at his job. Same old crap. Nobody even noticed when I walked in. I had to clear my throat. My mom gave me a quick hug. "Oh, hi. Take your boots off. We're eating soon." That was it. "No, how've you been? No, we missed you." Nothing. I sat down at the table, trying to find my spot in all the noise. Cousins talking about social media. My dad snorting at the TV. My mom barking about the rolls burning. I waited. I waited until the food was on the table, until we were all sitting down. I even waited until the kids were distracted with their phones. I wanted a moment when people could actually hear me. So I said it. "I've got some news," I started. "I got promoted last week. Editorial director. And I also, that's as far as I got." Uncle Pete let out this ugly laugh. "Like a mean bark. Don't bother, you'll just screw it up like you do everything else." I stared at him. He was still laughing, like he was proud of what he said. Like it was some kind of inside joke he'd been waiting to say out loud. Then my mom laughed too. Not as hard, but it was there. That sharp little sound that cuts deeper than any word. Nobody stood up for me. My dad just kept chewing. My sister didn't even look up. It felt like the air got sucked out of the room. I sat there, frozen, while everyone went back to eating like nothing had happened. I didn't touch my plate. I stood up, walked to the coat rack, grabbed my jacket, and left. No one stopped me. No one asked where I was going. No one cared. I drove home in silence. That was the last time I ever stepped foot in that house. I didn't answer calls. I didn't reply to texts. I gave myself permission to cut them off. All of them. I threw myself into work. I earned every cent of that promotion. I led 3 major projects that brought in record sales. I found new authors. I edited work that got national attention. My boss told me I had vision. No one had ever used that word about me before. And the book Ugly Roots took everything I'd been through and laid it bare. I changed names. I left out some details. But the story was real. It was mine. It was about growing up in a home where love felt conditional, where being the black sheep meant you got ignored, mocked, or blamed. I didn't write it to hurt them. I wrote it to survive them. The book came out and caught fire. Mostly online at first, people talking about it on TikTok, Instagram, Reddit. Then it hit a nerve. People wrote to me. Strangers. Saying they saw themselves in my story. It went into a second printing. Then a third. The publisher set up a small book tour. I did signings in DC, New York, and then Frederick. My hometown. I didn't want to go at first, but I figured it might be healing. The Frederick Book Festival gave me a prime spot. They set up a panel, a signing, and even a VIP section. I invited friends, coworkers, mentors. But I didn't tell my family. Still, somehow, they found out. That afternoon, about an hour before the panel, I was backstage sipping a tea that had gone cold when my assistant came up to me. There's a group outside asking for you. Family, I think. Your mom? They're trying to get into the VIP section. I walked over to the side curtain. Peered out. And there they were. My mom. Uncle Pete. My dad. My sister. All dressed up, smiling, like they were proud. I stood there for a second, staring. Then my mom saw me. She lit up. Honey, she called out, waving. Look at you. Our little author. I turned to the security guy standing at the entrance to the VIP line. They're not on the list, I said. Don't let them in. Understood, he said, already stepping between them and the door. Uncle Pete's voice carried. You can't be serious. It's family. My mom was pleading now. Please. We just want to see you speak. We're proud of you. Proud. They didn't even say sorry. Security kept the line moving. After a few minutes of arguing and getting nowhere, they left. I didn't watch them go. I went out on stage, sat on that panel, and told a packed room about surviving family, about finding your own voice when everyone around you tries to silence it. I signed books. I hugged strangers. I took pictures with girls who told me they finally felt seen. It was the best day of my life. And they weren't part of it. A week after the festival, things got quiet again. My tour ended. I went back to work. I was getting used to life on the other side of success. Emails from agents. Invitations to speak. People asking for advice. But then, the messages started coming in. At first, it was 1 or 2. Then a dozen. Then more. People tagging me in Facebook comments I hadn't seen, saying, "Is this your family?" with screenshots. My sister had posted a long, angry status. Funny how some people love to twist the truth for fame. My sister wrote a book full of lies and now thinks she's too good for her own blood. None of it happened the way she says. Sad how fame changes people. Uncle Pete followed with his own post, "Family ain't perfect, but airing dirty laundry in a book? That's low. That's betrayal." We supported her. She left us out like we were nothing. Even my mom commented on one of the book's Instagram tags, "A lot of exaggeration in that book." We always tried to love her. I didn't answer. I didn't explain. But I wasn't prepared for what came next. One of the local papers ran a profile about me. It was supposed to be light, hometown author finds her voice. But someone tipped them off. The comments section exploded. I know her family, and they're not like that. This is why you don't believe every sob story. She made it all up to sell books. Then I got an email from my publisher. Subject: Let's talk media concerns. They were polite, but I knew what they were worried about. Image. Reputation. If too many people said I was lying, it could hurt the next book. I had a call with my editor. She asked gently, "Are you okay? Do you have anything to say in response?" I said no. Because what could I say? That they were liars? That the worst things they did weren't even in the book? Instead, I started writing again. Not a memoir this time, a novel. But it was based on truth, just buried deeper. That's when I found out something that made me sit down cold. A cousin I hadn't talked to in years DM'd me. She said, "You need to know what they're planning." They were talking to a lawyer. About defamation. My stomach dropped. Even if the suit didn't go anywhere, even if they didn't have a case, just the process could hurt me. Legal fees. Stress. Reputational damage. My name tied to family lawsuit. I called a lawyer the next day. She read the book. They don't have much. You changed names. You didn't describe anything specific enough to be slander. And everything personal? That's your lived experience. Still, she warned me. They might go to the press anyway. Even a whisper campaign can cause problems. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed, thinking about all the times they laughed at me, mocked me, ignored me. And now that I was finally standing tall, they were trying to tear it all down. I could have stayed quiet. But I didn't. Instead of hiding, I wrote a blog post. A public letter, really. Titled simply, "To the family who taught me silence." I didn't name names. I didn't attack. I just told the truth, clearer than ever before. This is for anyone who was told to sit down when they had something to say. For anyone who was laughed at during the biggest moment of their life. For those of us who were mocked, then called dramatic. Who were told it didn't happen like that. This is for the ones who had to leave the table to breathe. The post went viral. It got picked up by a few literary blogs. People reposted it. Quoted it. Sent me messages saying they cried reading it. And then someone forwarded me something unexpected. An old high school classmate sent me a link to a YouTube video. It was from a podcast I'd never heard of. Local. Low budget. But this episode? It was titled, "When Authors Lie, The Other Side of Ugly Roots." I clicked. There they were. My sister. Uncle Pete. Even my mother. Sitting on mismatched chairs in someone's garage studio, talking about me. She always had a flair for making herself the victim, my mom said, her voice low but sharp. We weren't perfect, but we were never cruel. Uncle Pete chimed in, "She twisted everything. That Christmas dinner? I made a joke. Just a joke. And now I'm a villain in her damn book?" Then my sister said something that changed everything. She left out the part about what really happened after. The reason she cut us off wasn't some emotional wound, it's because we found out she stole Grandma's ring. What? I froze. That ring had been missing for years. Grandma passed away when I was in college, and I never saw the ring again. I assumed it was buried with her or maybe pawned. But now they were accusing me of stealing it. My phone buzzed. Texts. Emails. Even a few reporters asking if I wanted to comment. I didn't. I drove. I went straight to my old childhood home. Parked across the street. Sat there with the engine running. They were inside. Lights on. Curtains half drawn. The same ugly drapes. I watched the shadows move behind the glass. Then I saw it. My sister, walking past the front window wearing the ring. My grandmother's ring. The sight of that ring hit me like a slap. It was gold with a small sapphire in the center, nothing flashy, but it meant everything to me. My grandma used to let me wear it when I was little. She'd say, "It'll be yours one day, when you're ready." And I believed her. But after she died, the ring disappeared. I asked about it once, and my mom snapped, "It's gone. Let it go." That was it. And now, years later, my sister wore it like it was hers. Like I'd never existed. I didn't go up to the door that night. I didn't confront them. Not yet. Instead, I went home and did something worse. I wrote another essay. This time, I didn't hold back. I wrote about the ring. The accusations. The video. The way they'd turned my story into their own twisted performance. I didn't name them, again, but I gave just enough truth for the world to see. I described my grandma. Her voice. Her stories. The way she used to say, "People show who they are when they think no one's looking." And how she would have hated what they'd become. The post exploded. But this time, people went digging. A Reddit thread popped up. Did OP's family lie about the ring? Photos of my sister wearing it were compared to old pictures of my grandma's hand. People found screenshots from the podcast. They analyzed timelines. They even pulled up a social post from my sister a few years ago saying, "Finally found grandma's ring in a box." Which completely contradicted the theft story. And then the real blow hit. A woman emailed me out of the blue. Said her name was Debbie, and she used to be my grandma's neighbor. She said she read my essay, and it made her cry. Then she wrote this: "After your grandma passed, your mom came over and cleaned out the place." I remember because she was yelling about getting the good stuff before anyone else sees it. I saw her pocket that ring. I never said anything. But I want you to know it wasn't you. I posted the email, with permission. Blurred names, but left the message intact. 3 days later, the podcast pulled their episode. The host issued a statement saying they had been misled by their guests, and apologized to the author and anyone affected. And then the real revenge came, quiet and sharp. The school my sister worked at, private, uptight, conservative, didn't like bad press. The same people who praised her for speaking up now saw her as a liability. She lost her job. Not because of me, but because she couldn't stop lying. Uncle Pete? He ran a small HVAC business. Got hit with fake reviews and angry calls from people who read my story. He had to shut down his website for a month. My mom? She called me. I let it go to voicemail. She sounded tired. Defeated. "I didn't know it would go this far," she said. "I just wanted to fix things. Please, can we talk?" I played the message twice. Then I deleted it. I didn't get everything I wanted. The ring is still with my sister. She hasn't apologized. My mom keeps trying to explain instead of taking blame. But I stood up. I spoke the truth. I kept my name. And I never had to raise my voice or lie once. In the end, they exposed themselves louder and messier than I ever could have imagined. I'm not a victim anymore. I'm not family anymore either. And I'm finally at peace with that.